Welcome to the Sideshow. If you like what you're seeing, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, and consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you.
So a couple of you might have seen the very short snippet of this that appeared on the Svengoolie show long time ago. This was my Frankenstein meets Svengoolie, and what we have is Svengoolie throwing a rubber chicken at an advancing Frankenstein. And for those not familiar, the Svengoolie figure is made out of a converted odd job, and the Frankenstein figure is one of those that was the what is it, luminous kits or whatever, the ones that was in the bright orange plastic that was see-through. Talk about a pain in the butt to paint. I had to actually paint the inside of it black so that the orange would not show through onto the skin and everything. So it was very hard to paint, and the paint is very fragile on it. You got to be very careful with it. Odd job was not nearly as much of a problem. If you notice, his hand has been reversed. His front hand has been reversed. So instead of it being palm down, it's palm up. The hat has been changed, and then he's got I had to make new hair for Svengoolie because Svengoolie is not bald-headed. Also, I had to make a rubber chicken for him. The hair and the rubber chicken are actually sculpted out of epoxy. I just took two-part epoxy and made the parts for him. So that's the way that was done. Same with the rubber chicken necktie. That is a piece of cardstock, plastic cardstock that was cut to shape and then stuck in place for the tie. And then the gravestones. Well, two of the gravestones were made out of the original Frankenstein thing. I just basically made molds out of it by filling them up and then carving what I wanted to do on that. And then the one that's across is also made out of epoxy. At least I believe it was epoxy. And then you've got the walkway down the middle here. That was plaster that was just laid down, and then I cut it and painted it. And same thing with the edges there. That's bits of rock and plaster that was just made for the edges for the walkway through the cemetery. And then the little stones on the end there, those are from the parts box and one of those animal kits that has the grave scene stuff in it. The 1/9 scale. I don't remember, like the vulture and all those other things in the wild dog. But that's all of the kit, and then the rest of it was just a matter of painting it and stuff. And I will try my best to get up some close-ups of all this and talk a little bit more about them. Okay, so here we have Svengoolie in his typical makeup with the big eyes all blackened out and everything. He's supposed to basically look like a skull. That's what when you see him up close in person, you notice that his makeup on his face is turning him into a skull with a little goatee and a mustache. If you notice, the name on the tombstone here is Bishop. That's a shout out to Jerry Bishop, Jerry Bishop, the first Svengoolie. And then the cross headstone in the back here has Svengoolie going down the backside, and then you can see here the rubber chicken. I'll have to turn it around to get a better look at the rubber chicken. And like I said, the top hat, it's all made out of epoxy, and here you can see the little rubber chicken necktie a little bit better. Anyone who knows it, he's really got like Mardi Gras beads with a little rubber chicken hanging off of it on the show, but he does have a red shirt. And so we got him in the red shirt and the black tuxedo and the black top hat. And then we have the hair here, which is made out of, like I mentioned, epoxy. Now, as we swing it all the way around, you can start seeing the face on the rubber chicken and the little legs and the little feet down there, and you can make out Svengoolie going down the cross here for the tombstone, and then well, you can see Svengoolie's big butt. This is before Svengoolie went on the diet, I guess. And if you notice also down here, he's got red socks going on, and I've got to fix around these shoes again because, well, it's been 4 or 5 years and the expanding epoxy or expanding glue has spread out a little bit on his feet, so I got to touch that up. One thing I did, because I knew you'd be able to see the back of the gravestones, I filled them in and then painted it. So this has all been filled in with plaster so that you have a backing for the gravestone, and then I textured it with a wet cloth and then just painted it gray. And the same thing with the cross here. It's all been textured and everything so that it looked kind of old and beat up. The ground is just your typical ground cover that you get for railroads and stuff like that. And that's this side of the graveyard. And if you notice, well, I didn't have enough of these stones, so some of these are actual rocks. I just got some rocks out and used those instead, little square rocks, or I used epoxy and shaped them into rocks or whatever, something like that. Same with this. This is all epoxy rocks that I just made and then glued across here. And same with the stonework. Let's see if I can get over to the stonework. Yeah, so the walkway here, it was just one piece of plaster. I just put plaster down, and then I smoothed it as best I could. And then I took, while it was still wet, I just drew all the lines in with a toothpick, making stones of different sizes and everything. And then once it dried, I sanded it real quickly, very lightly, to get rid of the rough edges on the stone. And then I painted the stones different colors, different shades of gray and tan and everything. And then I gave it let it dry completely, and then I gave it a wash of dark color to get it into all the cracks. And then after that, I painted them again, and then I gave them a dry brushing so that it would be like that. And then I went through and I touched up all the cracks here, so wherever the dry brushing ended up being in the cracks, I tried to cover it up so that you would have the nice cracks into the walkway here. And here you can see some of the orange peering through on the stupid gravestone that I have to once again paint, because this paint chips off and then you got to repaint it. There's nothing else I can do about it. But this is the orange gravestone, and with Frankenstein's name on there. And if you notice, I've got another one over here that's broken, and that was molded off of this one. I just made a casting out of the back of this, and then I broke it and laid the tombstone broken as if he walked over the tombstone instead of walking in between them, because I had to find a way to have Frankenstein's monster coming into the scene. And if I've got tombstones on both sides, then there's no real way for him to walk into it. I know, I think about those silly things, and most people would have just put him there and not worried about it. But I thought this way, he's basically broken the gravestone, stepped over it, and he's coming after Svengoolie. And that brings us to the big guy himself. As you can tell, he's really just built stock right out of the box. His skin has been painted a mixture of some kind of green, like an olive green, and flesh tone and white. So it's coming out like a kind of a grayish greenish color of some kind. I did the little brackets up here. They are silver, where the stitching goes around, and then you've got the dried blood scar going on there. And if you notice, he's wearing a black T-shirt that has Svengoolie on it. It's a Svengoolie T-shirt that he's wearing. Well, Svengoolie meets Frankenstein, so I thought that would work out real well. His pants are a slightly lighter shade of brown than his jacket, and then he's got a black sleeves on here, so I guess he's wearing like the black Svengoolie sweatshirt. And then his hands are stretched out just like they would normally be stretched out. And then you've got his little bolts on his neck, which are chrome silver. and he's got his little eyes half open, and he's coming after a Svengoolie. And well, it was a really fun build. The hard thing it was I had wanted to do this for the longest time. I wanted to do a Svengoolie meets the Wolfman, or Svengoolie meets Frankenstein, Svengoolie meets something. And the hard thing is trying to find a Svengoolie figure. And then when I saw Oddjob, it's like, I think I can do that. And it took me about a year to finally, after getting the Oddjob kit, to actually sit down and figure out how I was going to do it. And once I made the hair it was like, I need to find a hat. And then around that time, the Mobius penguin came out, and it's like, man, I could use the penguin and just use him for Oddjob. And it's like, no, I'm going to stick to my guns, and I'm going to turn Oddjob into Svengoolie. I'm not going to use the penguin. But that is an option if somebody else wants to make a Svengoolie. Consider the Mobius penguin figure, because that'll be a little easier to switch around. And then the next thing was just trying to make a rubber chicken. I actually looked to see if I could get one in the right size, but I couldn't. And I was planning on making even more rubber chickens, and I might do that someday. This is still really a work in progress, but it was a lot of fun to do, and it was a little bit of a challenge. Painting a Svengoolie t-shirt freehand was kind of fun. And just converting Oddjob was kind of fun. But then I sent the pictures to Svengoolie, and it ended up airing during their Frankenstein month. And then a month later, I actually got to meet Svengoolie. That's why you see the card back there. And really nice guy. I was glad I did it, and it was really nice to actually sit down and meet Svengoolie and chat with him for all of 30 seconds at like a Comic Con or something, and get his autograph. He actually also autographed a rubber chicken tie that I was wearing at the time. Yeah, and you guys on the who also follow me over on my Knife Chats with Tobias know I have a tuxedo. So here I am at Comic Con wearing a red shirt and a black tuxedo and a rubber chicken necktie, and there you have it. He signed it for me, to Tobias Svengoolie, Rich Kaz. So there you have it. I mean, it's kind of a cool guy. I really enjoyed talking to him and meeting him, and actually getting 2 autographs instead of 1, because he said normally they don't do that. But it was pretty cool. And the reason he gave me a second autograph is because of Svengoolie meets Frankenstein. Any case, stick around for the little tidbit from the Svengoolie show from a few years back, and then after that, I'll throw up some slides with close-up photos of the various parts of the model kit, or the diorama, rather.
But here's something appropriate to go with this movie that came into our office. Tobias Gibson made this model of Svengoolie meets Frankenstein.
Meets history's greatest monster.
Yeah, it's made in 1/8 scale using an old Aurora Frankenstein model and a modified model of Oddjob from the old James Bond Goldfinger movie as me. As Tobias put it, Svengoolie gets to do the rubber chicken tossing as Frankenstein steps out on the town wearing the latest fashion trend.
Oh, beautiful.
He did a great job, didn't he, Kerwin? I like that he made you out of Oddjob. I can now rename him Bad Job. Well...
Thanks for visiting Toby's Sideshow of Scale Styrene. If you really enjoyed what you saw here, consider subscribing and ringing that notification bell so you'll know when the next episode is up online. Thanks again for dropping by.